Hi, James.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah, good man.
Good.
So you guys have a couple of characters with some big personalities, Paddy and Jock, but I feel like, in very different ways too. So Alfie, I want to start with you. How would you describe him?
I would describe Jock as one of the founding members of the SAS. I'll wait for that siren to finish.
No, it's appropriate actually, I think, for these two guys.
Yeah, true, true. Yeah, he was definitely a disciplinarian, the disciplinarian kind of the bunch. His methods weren't exactly, they were tried and tested. A lot of them didn't work, but he was an aloof man to within the kind of environment of the military. But then, in a sense, he was also quite a romantic man with his partner, Miriam Barford. And so, yeah, I would say that he was, just a kind of a man yearning for a kind of, yearn for a kind of sense of adventure in his life. I mean, that's possibly what kind of brought these three wildly different, but also kind of joint in the same cause in terms of toppling the kind of hierarchy that exists within the military, especially the British military.
Absolutely. Jack, what do you say?
It's kind of a Maverick style. I think he idolized like the warrior poet figures of history. Um, that are apparent if you read your Iliads and whatever else. I'm not going to pretend to be up on Greek um, literature, but Paddy certainly was, and I think that's the kind of that was his reckoning of how to behave during war times, and I think he achieves that status. I think, as history tells it, he's the most decorated soldier within the British military, or one of, and so that's kind of justified with his actions. And it's very easy to describe him as a fearless man. I don't think he's fearless, but I think he has this. He's definitely at peace with what's required of him during wartime.
No doubt about that, man. So Alfie, there's the one thing these guys I think all have in common is the frustration with how things are going and how the war is being fought and things like that. And Jock actually, he thinks he's the guy. He's like, I got the strategy. I got this. I know how we could change things. Do you feel like he is a strategic guy, or do you think he's the craziest one of the bunch?
um, yeah, I mean, he could be the craziest of the bunch in terms of yeah, he wants to follow a certain path, and that path is ending the war single-handedly. And I think Jock really believes that he can do that. And I think he is personally kind of invested in that. He was in Germany at the start of the war. He actually kind of adhered to the beliefs of that political party at one point, and then realised that's not where he wanted to be. So, in terms of the craziness of him, he was driven by a passion, really, within him, that wasn't just to do the job, but was also wanting to stop the spread of fascism. That was really where his passion stemmed from.
Oh, of course, for sure. So Jack, I think when we first meet Paddy, it's easy to judge a book by its cover, right? Like when we first meet him. But what would you say that we're going to find out as the season goes on? Is he a little bit deeper than we're going to see him and when we first meet him on the surface?
Yeah, I think God, yeah, I think I think Stephen Knight has this sort of ability to grab you and to introduce the characters with aplomb. And so we introduce Paddy early days, and then I do think we kind of unravel him and figure out what makes him tick and why. And as the series progresses, yeah, that's for sure.
I would definitely agree with that. So normally I'd give the advantage to the Irishman here, but it seems like Stirling could get everybody a run for their money when it comes to a good bout of drinking. So if there was a drinking contest between the three of you guys, who's winning it? Or your characters?
I'll let Alfie answer this.
Well, I would say the consumption of alcohol was tolerated by Jock, but and also I encouraged in the first opening scene of the Jock anyway, SAS Rogue Heroes. But in short, I would say probably Stirling. He seems like the man that loves a whiskey. In
Yeah,
the
he's a good drunk. He's a happy drunk.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I still think it'd be a pretty good contest, though. If I'm being honest, I think that's a scene I would love to see at some point between those two. So you don't see a lot of World War II series set or movies set in Egypt, which I think is really makes it even more interesting. So you guys actually filmed in the deserts of Morocco, though. But how is it like being in that environment and filming in such a different setting for an era like World War II?
Oh, it was tough, man. It was tough. It was enduring. It was hot, to say the least. I think it tested us on a multitude of levels, but that was great for what we were there to essentially achieve, and the story we were there to tell. And obviously, it doesn't compare to what the people that we're portraying experienced. It just gave us a slight insight, enough to be able to try and imagine it. So yeah, what you're seeing on camera, I mean, if there are herds, if there are massive gusts of sand blowing around on screen, that's not a production thing. That's us trying to shoot during a sandstorm. And one of the earlier episodes, you see us trying to take off our first parachute mission, and it's too windy. Well, we use stock footage of what was captured while we were out there because of the time of year that we were out there during. What's the word again? Is it therm? What's the word again? Alf, do you remember? Was the time of year we was at meant that the thermitude.
I'm not sure.
What's that word? But it basically meant that the low pressures were extra, the high pressures were extra. So at the same time, every day we had this one hell of a sandstorm would blow through and just batter us. And we were up against it with time. So sometimes we had to press on and shoot through it. So yeah, these were the elements that we were up against, and very, very testing.
You guys will see these incredible things when Rogue Heroes premieres on EPIX, soon to be MGM Plus, on November the 13th. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern. Alfie, Jack, you guys, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure,
Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you, gentlemen.